before Thai men marry, they will go in the temple. Uh, there are a monk. Uh, it is custom in Thailand. They believe the custom can make their parents happy, and then when they die, they believe they can go to the event.
Called novices until they are ordained at the age of 20, these young men learn discipline in their lives and in their studies. While in school, they study the fundamentals of Buddhism as well as secular subjects such as English and math. The school is usually connected to a temple. In Thailand, Buddhist temple complexes are called wats. Following their schooling, the young men then enter the monastery for several months of training in the Buddhist way of life, a life of monastic tasks, meditation, and study. The regular members of the monastery belong to the great brotherhood of monks known as the Sangha, which distinguishes Theravada from the other main division of Buddhism. Their monastic life is spent in such disciplined activities as ceremony and prayer. In this ceremony, the monks chant while the people bring food as gifts for the monks. This is part of a great celebration, marking the anniversary of the full moon, when the Buddha preached his first sermon. After the ceremony, the novices collect the food and distribute it among themselves and the monks. In Thailand, even the military participates in religious activities. On the night of the full moon, the soldiers come, along with many other people, to make offerings of flowers and incense, and to hear the chief monk of the temple speak. Later, people come to light candles and incense, and to chant and pray. Sworn to poverty, the monks receive their food, clothing, and other needs from the people, who gain religious merit through such offerings. Here, several monks return to the temple at sunrise after their early rounds to receive food. They do not beg. The food is offered gladly by the faithful. Solid food is forbidden the monks in the afternoon and evening, for Buddha warned that he who becomes fat is born into suffering again and again.
We take food 2 times as monks, in the morning and lunch. Other times we do not eat. We do not take food, because that is a rule of the Buddha. We can take water and coffee, but food, I cannot take food.
In return for supporting the religious community, the people receive their religious education and examples of right conduct from the monks. Following these examples, the people lead lives of great simplicity, serenity, and dignity, and achieve happiness through gentleness and kindness toward others, characteristic of Buddhists everywhere. Another great branch of Buddhism, known as Mahayana, or the large vehicle, is practiced in Japan, Korea, China, Mongolia, Tibet, and Nepal. It is called the large vehicle because it incorporates a much wider range of principles and teachings than Theravada Buddhism. The path of Mahayana Buddhism teaches that the Buddha was a god, and pays homage to a host of Buddha-like deities who came to earth in the form of men. Unlike the Theravadis, Mahayanas believe they can be saved by their faith in these gods. Here at the great Swayambhunath Stupa in Kathmandu, Nepal, people come to pray. Sometimes this takes the form of turning prayer wheels. These wheels are inscribed with hundreds of prayers. By turning them, it is believed that these prayers are sent to heaven. The path to the stupa, like that of life, is steep and arduous. At the top, the faithful walk around the stupa, turning prayer wheels and chanting. In Nepal, Buddhism and Hinduism are almost indistinguishable. Hindus in Nepal believe that the Buddha was an incarnation of Vishnu, one of the principal deities of Hinduism. Here at Swayambhunath, a Hindu temple is built in the midst of the second most holy Buddhist site in Nepal. The two coexist in perfect harmony. Mahayanas tell how the Buddha once took some leaves and told his disciples that as these leaves were not all the leaves in the forest, neither were his teachings all of the truth. From the principles told by this story, Mahayanas allowed for a broader interpretation of the teachings of Buddhism than the Theravadists. In Japan, many Buddhists believe that there is a pure land in the West where Buddha-like deities preside. The Buddha Amida is the chief god of this paradise. There are many Pure Land temples in Japan, which house these Buddhist deities. On special days, chants and music are performed to honor these divine beings. On the Buddha's birthday, small shrines called flower temples are set up, where the faithful can bathe the image of Buddha with water. Yet another form of Japanese Buddhism is Zen, with its ideals of simplicity, harmony, and tranquility. Zen Buddhism is reflected in a variety of ways, such as in this Japanese floral arrangement, a pure, simple expression of beauty. Zen monks lead a life of great discipline and simplicity. They believe that enlightenment can come in a flash of revelation, but much spiritual work is done while waiting for that revelation. Zen monks live in temples and monasteries, often surrounded by beautiful gardens designed specifically to quiet the mind and assist the monks in achieving deep meditation. Much of their lives is spent in prayer, meditation, chanting, and other rituals. Popular today in the Western world, Zen and other Buddhist writings and philosophies have found an enthusiastic following in areas of the United States. Another Buddhist tradition to find favor in the West is the Tantric Buddhism of Tibet. This form of Buddhism developed after the teachings of the Buddha migrated from India into the mountainous regions of Tibet. The teachings of the Buddha combined with the nature worship of the native Tibetan people and formed a powerful synthesis of the two belief systems. Tantric Buddhists rely upon prayers and incantations to guide their religious life. There is a belief in magic formulas to ward off evil and bring good fortune. Since the Chinese communists have taken over Tibet, many Tibetans have been forced to flee to Nepal and India for personal and religious freedom. At the Buddhanath Stupa in Kathmandu, Nepal, an entire Tibetan community has grown up around the stupa. The people here practice their religious rituals throughout the day. At a nearby Tibetan Buddhist monastery, monks live, work, and worship. As in Hinduism, the guru, or spiritual teacher, plays a central role. That is why the Lama, literally the higher one, plays such an important part in Tibetan Buddhism. Janggun Control Rinpoche is a Tibetan Buddhist High Lama, one who has become master of his own fate and has escaped the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The Rinpoche was asked what it means to be a Buddhist.
Instead of relying on external things, outside material things as the source of happiness, the source of the mind becoming completely free from confusion and from pain, Buddhism provides the opportunity to turn inwardly and simply realize the nature of the mind, which inherently, which in itself, is free from pain, free from confusion and suffering. The opportunity to experience that freedom, which is provided through the Buddhist path, is what it means to be a Buddhist.
As you have seen, there are many different paths trod by the Buddhist faithful, and each one possesses characteristics of its own. Each is a reflection of those lands from which the faith took hold and developed. But all share a faith in the Buddha, a belief in the virtues he taught, and hope for the bliss and perfect peace of nirvana. In the words of the Buddha, "May all be blessed with peace always, all creatures weak and strong, all creatures great and small, creatures seen and unseen, dwelling near or far, born or awaiting birth. May all be blessed with peace."